As we grow older, some habits that once helped us stay organized or productive may quietly start working against us. They can affect our energy, clarity, and even confidence. But we often don't notice until the toll becomes clear in stiffness, forgetfulness, or frustration. In this video, we'll explore 7 common habits that many people over 70 fall into without realizing, and why letting them go can open the door to a more vibrant, capable, and fulfilling life. These aren't harsh rules or unrealistic goals. They're gentle invitations to choose what supports your well-being now. By making small changes, you might feel more like yourself again, more clear-minded, energized, and in control of your day. So stay with me until the end. You'll likely see a bit of yourself in these habits, and you'll walk away with practical ways to shift them starting today. And if you haven't yet, I invite you to subscribe and turn on the bell. Your support helps us keep creating content to inform and uplift. Let's begin. Number 1. Downplaying your emotional health. One of the most quietly damaging habits after 70 is minimizing your emotional well-being, as if how you feel no longer matters as much as how you function. You've lived through so much, decades of responsibilities, heartbreaks, joys, and resilience. And somewhere along the way, you may have learned to keep going, to be strong, or to not make a fuss. So when sadness lingers or anxiety creeps in, or you find yourself feeling more irritable or withdrawn, you brush it off. I'm just tired. It's normal at this age. I don't want to be a burden. But here's the truth. Your emotional health is just as important as your physical health. And tending to it is not self-indulgent. It's self-respect. You are not too old to care about your peace of mind. You are not past the point of needing comfort, companionship, or joy. In fact, now, more than ever, you deserve those things. Many older adults experience quiet waves of grief that never fully settled, anxiety that creeps in at night, loneliness that they're too proud to mention, or even unspoken regrets that sit heavy on the heart. Left unspoken, these emotions can weigh you down. But acknowledged with kindness, they can be released. They can heal. Let me tell you about Frank, a 76-year-old veteran who spent his life being the steady one, the strong one. After retirement, he found himself feeling aimless, restless. He didn't speak about it, not even to his wife. Until one day, a friend invited him to a men's support group at the library. Just 6 people, 1 coffee pot, and a quiet agreement that nothing needed to be fixed, just shared. Frank didn't say much at first, but over time he opened up. And something remarkable happened. Not dramatic, not loud. Just lightness. A sense of relief. He later said, "I didn't realize how heavy it had gotten until I started letting a little of it out." That's what caring for your emotional health does. It doesn't erase life's weight, but it helps you carry it differently. You don't need to see a therapist to begin. You can talk to a trusted friend, write in a journal, practice gentle mindfulness, join a group at your local senior center, or simply admit, "I'm not okay today," and let someone be there with you. Being emotionally aware doesn't make you fragile. It makes you free. It gives you the space to breathe again, to feel again, not just the hard parts but the sweet ones too. Gratitude for a quiet morning, tears that come with memories, laughter that surprises you, or the peace of knowing you're not carrying everything alone. So please don't silence your heart just because the world often tells older adults to be strong. Being strong also means being honest. You still matter. Your emotions still matter. And the tenderness you show yourself can ripple outward, to those who love you, and to those who may need your example more than you realize. If this speaks to you, comment number 1 below, and know that you're not alone in what you're feeling. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss a message that might help lighten your heart. Let's keep moving, together, with gentleness, with honesty, and with hope. Number 2. Pulling away from social connection. After 70, it can happen so quietly that you barely notice it at first. Maybe you start turning down invitations. Maybe you tell yourself, it's just easier to stay in. You cancel plans more often. You wait for someone to call, but the phone stays silent. So you retreat, not out of bitterness but because it feels safer, calmer, familiar. Sometimes it's physical aches, fatigue, or difficulty getting around. But just as often it's emotional. You might think, I don't have as much to say anymore, or, people are busy. They've moved on. And so, little by little, the world becomes smaller, quieter, more distant. You convince yourself it's fine, that you like the solitude. And yes, there's beauty in peace and stillness. But there's also a hidden danger: isolation. What many don't realize is that loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a serious health risk. Study after study shows that prolonged social disconnection in older adults can lead to depression, memory decline, weakened immune function, even a higher risk of heart disease. Our brains, our hearts, our very spirits, they're wired for connection. When we stop engaging with others, our minds begin to drift inward, and not always in healthy ways. That inward spiral can lead to confusion, anxiety, and a loss of purpose. But here's the good news: connection doesn't have to be grand or complicated. It can be found in a weekly phone call with someone you love, a short walk with a neighbor, a small group at your church or community center, even an online book club or hobby group. Every smile, every laugh, every shared moment, it's like a vitamin for the soul. Let me tell you about Carol. At 80, she was quietly grieving the loss of her husband. She thought she needed solitude. But weeks became months. Months became years. Her memory felt cloudy. Her days all started to blend into one long gray stretch. Her daughter gently suggested a local yoga class for seniors, not for the workout but for the company. Carol was hesitant, even nervous, but she went. And what changed her life wasn't the stretches, it was the people. A shared joke before class, a friendly chat afterward, someone remembering her name. It brought color back into her world. She hadn't realized just how much she missed being seen. You don't need to join clubs or go to big gatherings. But you do need something regular, something that keeps you connected to others and to yourself. Because when you reach out, even in the smallest way, you're not just helping yourself. You're reminding someone else that they matter too. The tricky part is isolation often feels safe. It's predictable, comfortable. But there's a world of difference between enjoying solitude and living in isolation. One nourishes you. The other slowly empties your cup. And here's what I want you to remember. You still have so much to give. Your stories, your laughter, your quiet wisdom, your very presence. You are needed. You are valuable. And connection, real, meaningful connection, is one of the most powerful ways to stay emotionally strong, mentally sharp, and spiritually whole. So reach out, even just a little, because the world is better when you're a part of it. Number 3. Still eating like you did in your 40s? It might be time for a change. One of the most common traps people fall into after 70 is assuming that the way they used to eat is still the right way to eat today. Same portion sizes, same meal times, same familiar comfort foods. Feels comforting, familiar, like something you can count on when so much else is changing. And for a long time, it probably worked just fine. But the truth is, your body isn't operating on the same internal fuel system it had 30 years ago. As we grow older, our metabolism slows down, our digestion becomes more sensitive, and our bodies become less efficient at absorbing certain nutrients. Yet many of us continue to eat out of habit, not hunger, and that quiet habit can gradually lead to weight gain, fatigue, and even blood sugar issues that can catch us off guard. Here's what's important to understand. After 70, every bite matters more. Not because you're restricted, but because your body is more selective now. It needs food that nourishes deeply, without overloading your system. You may not need as much food as you once did, but you do need more of the right kinds of food, nutrient-rich, easy to digest, and designed to support your bones, your brain, and your energy levels. That means smaller portions of heavy meats, breads, and processed snacks, and more balanced meals built around colorful vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, and water-rich fruits. This isn't about dieting. It's about adjusting. Think of it like this. You wouldn't wear the same shoes you wore in your 30s, right? Your feet have changed. Your stride has changed. And your meals? They should change too. Let me tell you about Helen, a warm and thoughtful 75-year-old who'd always had a hearty appetite. For decades, she stuck to the same routine, 3 square meals a day. No fuss, no changes. But lately she started feeling heavy and sluggish after dinner. Her energy dipped in the afternoons. Her favorite jeans? Suddenly snug. It wasn't anything drastic, but she noticed. Instead of being scolded, her doctor gently invited her to try something different. Slightly smaller meals, more vegetables, and tuning into when she actually felt full. Within just a few weeks, something shifted. She didn't just feel lighter, she felt brighter. Her sleep deepened. Her mood lifted. She felt more in control of her day. That's the power of eating with intention. Eating less doesn't mean you're depriving yourself. It means you're respecting what your body truly needs, and letting go of the extras that only weigh you down. When your meals are balanced and mindful, your body responds. More energy, clearer thinking, steadier moods. And here's something I want you to hear clearly. It's okay to have new food rules at this stage of life. In fact, it's wise. It's a form of self-care and self-respect. You're not giving up the joys of food. You're creating a better relationship with it. One that honors who you are now, not who you were decades ago. Because with age comes wisdom. And food is one of the places where that wisdom can truly shine. If this message is speaking to you, let me know by commenting number 3 below. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and tap the bell icon so you won't miss our next message of encouragement. Now let's keep moving forward, together. Number 4. Avoiding strength-based movement. One of the most common, yet quiet, mistakes people make after 70 is believing that the safest path forward is to slow down and do less. It makes sense, doesn't it? Maybe your knees creak more than they used to. Your balance feels a bit off. And the idea of lifting anything heavier than a grocery bag might bring on more anxiety than motivation. So you rest. You stay seated. You avoid reaching, stretching, or carrying too much. After all, isn't that how we protect ourselves? But here's the truth. Avoiding strength-based movement is one of the quickest ways to lose your independence. See, our muscles aren't just there to help us carry things. They're essential to almost every basic part of living. Getting out of a chair, walking through the house, climbing steps, even catching yourself if you trip. And after age 70, we naturally start to lose muscle at a faster rate, a condition known as sarcopenia. But it's not inevitable. You can slow it down. You can rebuild strength. And you don't need a gym membership to do it. Strength training doesn't mean pumping iron or sweating under fluorescent lights. It can be as simple as standing up from a chair without using your hands. Lifting light objects like soup cans or water bottles. Using resistance bands while watching your favorite show. Practicing balance by standing on one leg near the counter. What matters is consistency and the intention behind each movement. Let me share a story. George, an 82-year-old widower, spent most of his days in a recliner after a fall in his backyard. That one moment of fear convinced him that movement was too risky. So he kept things safe. Predictable. But over time, safe became limiting. He struggled to walk to the mailbox. He needed help standing up. His world got smaller. After a visit with a kind and patient physical therapist, George began a routine. Just 5 minutes a day. Nothing complicated. But it was his time, his choice to reclaim a bit of strength. In 2 months, his legs steadied. His confidence grew. He began smiling more. That spark returned, not because of a miracle but because he moved gently and faithfully. There's a quiet power in using your body with purpose. It's not just about moving, it's about reclaiming your dignity, your freedom, your ability to say yes to life. To say yes to getting out of bed without hesitation. Walking through the grocery store without holding onto a cart. Sitting on the floor to play with your great-grandchild, and knowing you can get back up. Strength gives you that freedom. And you don't need to spend hours a day to get it. Just a few intentional minutes, repeated regularly, can help you rebuild what time tried to take away. The trouble is, muscle loss doesn't scream. It creeps in. It whispers. It shows up in the stairs you now avoid, the fatigue you can't explain, or needing both hands to push up from a chair. But here's the gift, it's never too late. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need to be fearless. You just need one small choice today, one small movement, because your strength matters more than your stillness. Number 5. Ignoring small health symptoms. One of the quietest and perhaps most dangerous habits that can take hold after 70 is the tendency to brush off small health concerns. A little dizziness, a bit of chest tightness, that nagging fatigue that always seems to creep in by mid-afternoon. You tell yourself it's normal, just aging. You don't want to be a bother. You don't want to make a fuss. And frankly, you're tired of sitting in sterile waiting rooms, answering the same questions again and again. So you let it go. You push it aside. You wait and see. But here's the truth. Ignoring small signs can lead to big consequences. After 70, your body becomes more vulnerable, but it also becomes more communicative. It talks to you in subtle whispers. And if you learn to listen, you can often catch problems early, when they're manageable, reversible, or even preventable. What you once could shrug off might now be your body asking for help. That swelling in your ankles? It could be your heart trying to tell you something. That occasional forgetfulness? It might not just be a senior moment, it could be the early signs of something deeper. That tingling in your feet? It could be your nerves or blood sugar waving a quiet red flag. When we ignore these signs, we risk allowing something small to grow into something serious. Let me share the story of Walter, a kind and no-nonsense 78-year-old who prided himself on being tough. He avoided doctors unless absolutely necessary. But one day he noticed his vision was a bit blurry. He also felt a strange tingling in his toes. He chalked it up to getting older and kept going. It wasn't until his daughter urged him, gently but persistently, to see a doctor that he learned the truth. He had early-stage diabetes. The good news? Because he caught it early, he could manage it with simple lifestyle changes, diet, activity, and regular monitoring. The doctor told him clearly, if you'd waited much longer, the damage might have been permanent. Here's what I want you to remember. Paying attention to your body doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. You've spent a lifetime being strong for others. Now it's time to turn some of that strength inward. When something feels off, you have every right to get it checked. Not because you're overreacting, but because you're taking responsibility for your life and well-being. You are the expert on your own body. If something feels strange, different, or not quite right, don't wait. Ask questions. Seek answers. And if you feel dismissed by a provider, you absolutely have the right to seek a second opinion. Health problems don't always arrive with sirens and flashing lights. They often arrive quietly, softly, like a whisper. And the older we get, the more important it becomes to listen to those whispers. Acting early can mean faster recovery, fewer medications, less stress, and a better overall outcome. You deserve to feel good in your body. You deserve to be heard. And you deserve to take your health seriously, without apology. So if you've been putting something off, let today be the day you call, ask, or check in. You're not overreacting, you're showing care. For yourself and for those who love you. And if this message speaks to you, comment number 5 below so I know you're still here, still listening, still growing. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so now and click the bell so you'll never miss a new video. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs, empowers, and inspires. Let's keep moving forward, together. Number 6. Resisting technology altogether. One of the most limiting habits that quietly holds many people back after 70 is the decision to completely shut out technology. And it's understandable. Maybe it feels overwhelming. Maybe you've tried before and got frustrated. Or maybe you've told yourself, I'm too old for this, or I've made it this far without it, why start now? Those thoughts feel comforting at first, like you're protecting yourself from unnecessary stress. But over time they build something dangerous. A wall between you and the tools that could truly make your life easier, safer, and more connected. Technology doesn't have to mean scrolling through social media or buying every new gadget. It can be as simple as sending a quick text to a friend, asking a voice assistant to remind you to take your pills, checking the weather before heading out, or reviewing your health information online. These tools aren't just modern conveniences. For older adults, they are lifelines. They can help you manage your medications more reliably, stay in touch with your children and grandchildren, access care quickly in an emergency, and find information instantly, without waiting or depending on others. Let me tell you about Louise, A warm, independent 79-year-old who used to call her daughter every time she needed to check her appointments or refill a prescription. Her daughter helped gladly, but Louise began to feel like she was losing control of her own life. One day her grandson sat down with her and showed her two things: how to use the reminders and calendar apps on her phone, how to log into her pharmacy's website. It wasn't easy at first. There were mistakes. There were questions. There were moments of doubt. But after a few weeks, something changed. Louise stopped needing to make those extra calls. She scheduled her own appointments. She even set reminders to stretch and drink water. And the most beautiful part? She said, "I feel capable again." That's what this is really about. Not learning everything. Not becoming a tech expert. But reclaiming your independence, one small step at a time. Technology can offer you simple, empowering wins. Reading messages from loved ones. Watching a grandchild's recital online. Joining a virtual class. Receiving a health alert. Even playing a brain game or listening to calming music. Each small act reminds you, you are still growing. You are still capable. And if you've ever felt ashamed or embarrassed for not knowing how to use something, let me gently say this. Everyone starts somewhere. There is no shame in learning. Only courage in trying. You deserve patient help, a gentle teacher, and time. And most of all, you deserve the confidence and freedom that comes from saying, "I'm willing to try." Because the truth is, technology is not the enemy of aging. It's a powerful ally. It can help you live more fully, more safely, and more independently. So don't shut the door on it. Open it just a little. Because behind it might be something that changes your life for the better. Number 7. Relying on memory instead of writing things down. One of the most common, but most overlooked, habits after 70 is continuing to trust your memory as much as you always have. And it's easy to understand why. You've remembered birthdays for decades. You've handled bills, appointments, and daily medications, often without missing a beat. You've probably even been the one others relied on to remember. So naturally you keep doing what's worked. Reciting your plans for the day in your head. Reminding yourself to call someone later. Keeping track of medications without writing anything down. But here's the quiet truth. Memory changes with age. It becomes less like a filing cabinet and more like a stack of papers. Easy to mix up, easy to misplace. And relying on it alone, without any backup, can lead to small errors with big consequences. Forget an appointment? It's inconvenient. Forget whether you took your morning medication? That can be dangerous. Many older adults have experienced the same moment of doubt. Did I already take this pill? Uncertainty leads to hesitation, or worse, to doubling up or skipping it altogether. This is especially risky with medications like blood pressure treatments, diabetes medicine, heart or pain management prescriptions. But here's what I want you to hear clearly. Writing things down isn't a sign of decline, it's a sign of wisdom. It's how you lighten your mental load. It's how you protect yourself and your health. And it's how you build a system that works with your brain, not against it. Let me introduce you to Bill, a sharp, capable 73-year-old who took great pride in his memory. He never needed a calendar. Never forgot a birthday. But one week he missed an important appointment. And later that same week he skipped his morning dose of medication, twice. He felt embarrassed, like he was letting himself down. But his daughter gently encouraged him to try a different approach. A small notebook to track his day. A simple pill organizer. And a few alarms on his phone. What happened surprised him. He didn't just remember more, he worried less. He said it felt like putting down a heavy bag he didn't know he'd been carrying. Here's the thing, your brain is doing a lot, more than it gets credit for. After decades of rich life experience, it's completely normal for short-term memory to slow a bit. That's not failure. It's biology. And instead of resisting it, we can adapt. We can support our minds with tools that make life easier. A calendar on the fridge. A weekly pill box. Sticky notes by the kettle. A journal beside the bed. Or just using your phone to nudge you at the right time. The freedom comes when you stop trying to hold everything in your head. When you let some of it live on paper or on your phone, you create space. Mental space. Emotional space. Room to breathe, room to rest. No more second guessing. No more repeating the same list in your head, hoping you haven't missed something. Instead, you move through your day with confidence, because you know you've set yourself up for success. You're not being forgetful. You're being wise. And you deserve that peace of mind. Final thoughts. If you've made it to this point, I want to thank you, not just for watching but for choosing to reflect, to grow, and to care for yourself in this stage of life. Aging isn't about fading away. It's about refining, getting clearer about what matters, what heals, and what lifts you up. The habits we've talked about today, avoiding movement, clinging to outdated routines, retreating from connection, downplaying symptoms, over-relying on memory, resisting technology, and ignoring emotional health, aren't signs of failure. They're just gentle reminders that some things need to shift as we move forward. And shifting doesn't mean losing who you are. It means making space for who you're still becoming. Because here's the truth. You are still needed. You are still loved. And you are absolutely still capable of growth, connection, and joy. Even small changes, done with intention, can bring more peace to your day, more strength to your body, and more light to your heart. So take what speaks to you. Leave what doesn't. And most importantly, be kind to yourself in the process. This isn't about perfection, it's about presence. About choosing each day to live with a little more awareness and a little more care. If any of these messages touched something inside you, please share in the comments. Let someone else know they're not alone. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so now, and turn on the bell so you never miss another message meant to support and uplift you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Until next time, take good care. You matter, and you're not walking this journey alone.